Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Stop explaining your vision to small-minded people because they will never see it. They don't have the lens. They don't have the capacity. And it's not their fault. Your vision wasn't given to them. See, when God, the universe, or whatever you believe in, plants a seed in your spirit, he didn't host a conference call. He didn't send a group text. He whispered it into you quietly, personally, intimately. And that whisper was yours to hear, yours to carry, yours to birth. But here you are, running around trying to get people who are too afraid to dream, too lazy to try, or too insecure to believe, to understand something that was never meant for them. That's why you feel tired. That's why you feel unheard. That's why you feel stuck. Let me tell you something. Small minds shrink big dreams. They will water down your fire, question your calling, and convince you to stay average because that's where they feel safe. Not because you're wrong, but because you're growing and your growth threatens the comfort zone. They refuse to leave. You're not crazy. You're not delusional. You just have a mind that sees beyond the fall, a heart that aches for something bigger, a spirit that knows there's more. And that alone makes you dangerous to the status quo. But dangerous is what you were born to be because you weren't put on this earth just to wake up, pay bills, scroll your phone, and die. You were put here to disrupt cycles, to heal bloodlines, to break curses, to rise so high that the people who used to doubt you have no choice but to watch from below. So stop expecting vision from people who barely have sight. Stop looking for belief in people who gave up on themselves. Stop handing the paintbrush of your destiny to people who can't even draw their own future. You're not for everybody, and that's your power. Your dream doesn't need mass approval. It needs discipline. It needs focus. It needs you to stop arguing with people who can't spell your mission, let alone live it. They weren't in the room when you cried for this. They weren't by your side when you fasted for this. They didn't feel your soul break when you almost gave up. So why are you begging them to support something they were never called to carry? Some people are in your life for the lesson, not the legacy. Let them be who they are. You don't need them to clap for you. You don't need them to repost your dreams. You need to build quietly, obediently, consistently. And while you're building, protect your energy. Because not everyone around you is rooting for you. Some are just waiting to see if you fail, so they can feel better about not trying. That's why you must get comfortable with being misunderstood. You must get addicted to silence, to solitude, to self-trust, because elevation requires separation. And if everybody could go, your destiny wouldn't be unique. You're not ahead of your time. You're just surrounded by people who stopped dreaming. So dream anyway, plan anyway, pray anyway, grind anyway. Don't let small minds trick you into shrinking. Don't let fear dressed as logic talk you out of divine purpose. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the fire in your belly. You don't owe anyone a speech for why you believe in more. They won't get it, not because it's impossible, but because they've never had the courage to believe like you. This is why you feel isolated, because the higher you go, the thinner the air. The path narrows, the noise fades, the crowd disappears, and you're left with your faith, your calling, and your decision to keep climbing. It's lonely, yes, but it's worth it, because visionaries are rare. They don't fit in, they don't conform, they don't ask permission to be great. They decide, and once that decision is made, the world shifts. Listen to me closely. You don't need more opinions. You need more action. You don't need another validation. You need to trust your gut. You don't need clearer approval. You need a clearer why. Your vision is not a democracy. It's a divine assignment. Treat it like one. When Steve Harvey said, "Stop telling big dreams to small-minded people," he wasn't being arrogant. He was being accurate. Because small minds will make you question your gift. They'll laugh at your hustle. They'll mock your beginnings until the same thing they laughed at becomes the very thing they beg to be part of. So don't throw your pearls to pigs. Don't cast your gold to those who can't recognize value. Instead, protect it, nurture it, study, practice, grind in the dark so you can shine in the light. The ones who get it will find you. The ones who don't were never meant to. Let them think you're crazy. Let them think you're wasting time. Let them gossip while you grow. Because when that vision starts to manifest, when the fruits of your labor begin to bloom, they'll come running back confused, amazed, and speechless. And by then, you won't have to say a word. Your results will scream for you. But until then, work, pray, build, isolate if you must, sacrifice if you must, but keep going. Because small-minded people will try to convince you to give up right before your breakthrough. They'll call it realism. They'll call it just being honest. But the truth is, they're projecting their limits onto your calling. And if you're not careful, you'll inherit their fears, wear their doubts, and start building a life around someone else's imagination instead of your own. Don't do it. Your imagination is a preview of coming attractions. Protect that preview with everything you've got, because you are carrying something powerful, something sacred, something necessary. And it's time you start acting like it. Walk different, talk different, think different, move like someone chosen, because you are. And when people don't get it, bless them and keep walking. You don't have time to convert non-believers while building empires. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to wake people up. But you can't wake people up who enjoy sleeping. So build. Don't explain. Don't argue. Don't shrink. Don't justify. Just build. Because the vision you carry is real. And it's bigger than the noise, the doubt, the gossip, the rejection, and the fear. It's bigger than them. It's bigger than you. And it's about to change everything. So keep climbing, keep believing, and stop explaining your vision to small-minded people. They'll never get it until they have to. You see, the thing about your vision, it didn't come to you by accident. It came with purpose. It came wrapped in fire and weight. And sometimes that weight feels unbearable. Sometimes it feels like you're walking alone through a desert of doubt, carrying a dream that nobody understands, not even the people closest to you. But that's the price of greatness. People want the outcome, but not the process. They want the crown, but not the cross. They want the applause, but not the isolation. And the truth is, most people can't handle what it takes to birth something divine. But you can, because you've been chosen to carry what others ran from. You've been equipped to stand in the fire and not be consumed. And the fire is not there to destroy you. It's there to forge you. It's burning away the weakness. It's burning away the need for approval. It's burning away the part of you that thought you had to be liked to be successful. You don't. You have to be faithful. You have to be focused. You have to be so locked in on your assignment that even when the world laughs, you stay building. Even when they turn their backs, you keep grinding. Even when they walk away, you still speak life over the dream. Because real vision is spiritual. It's not based on your bank account. It's not based on your degree. It's not based on likes or followers. It's based on purpose. It's based on obedience. It's based on who you become while you wait, while you work, while you walk through doors you had to kick open yourself. And if you're still explaining your vision to small-minded people, let me ask you this. Why are you seeking water from a dry well? Why are you begging blind people to describe your view? They can't. They don't have the elevation. They don't have the spiritual Wi-Fi to download what's been uploaded into your soul. So stop it. Stop dialing down your power so they feel comfortable. Stop editing your dream to fit someone else's limits. Stop placing your destiny on layaway just to keep dead relationships alive. You deserve better. You deserve to be surrounded by people who speak life into your vision, not confusion. People who ask, how can I support you? Instead of, are you sure that's realistic? People who don't need you to explain it because they feel your fire when you speak. They see your future in your passion. They believe just because you believe. But until those people show up, be your own believer. Be your own cheerleader. Be your own witness. And trust that if the vision was real enough to wake you up at 3 a.m., it's real enough to change your life. But it won't happen if you keep handing your dream to people who don't even have one. Listen to me. It's not their fault. They don't understand. It's just not their season. Some people are stuck in survival mode, and you're talking legacy. Some people are arguing about weekends, and you're building for generations. Some people are playing not to lose, and you're playing to change the game. There's no common ground there, and that's okay, because this season isn't about convincing. It's about becoming the version of you that doesn't flinch when they laugh, that doesn't fold when they doubt, that doesn't explain when they question, that doesn't pause when they leave. You are not the old you anymore. You're not that unsure, hesitant, half in, half out person. You're standing in fire now. You're learning to trust silence. You're learning to walk heavy. You're learning to build with bloody hands and a bruised heart. And still, you don't quit. You can't quit because someone out there is waiting on the fruit of your obedience. Someone's life is tied to your decision not to give up. Someone's freedom is waiting on your breakthrough. And every time you keep going, even when no one claps, even when no one sees, even when no one agrees, you are proving that purpose doesn't need permission. Only discipline, only commitment, only faith that says, even if they don't see it yet, I still believe. Because that's what visionaries do. They see before the world sees. They believe before the proof shows. And they move before it makes sense. So keep moving, even if you're misunderstood, even if they call you crazy, even if you lose people along the way. Because what's coming is bigger than their opinion. What's coming is so powerful, so undeniable, that the same people who mocked you will one day say, I always believed in you. But you'll know the truth. You'll know that it wasn't their belief that got you there. It was yours. It was your faith when no one clapped, your fire when no one watched, your grind when no one showed up, your tears, your prayers, your perseverance. Those are the bricks that built your legacy. So stop explaining. Start building. Stop defending. Start declaring. Stop shrinking. Start standing. And stop waiting for people who don't get it to get it. They won't, but you will. And when you do, when that vision manifests in the physical, when the doors open, when the blessing drops, when the impact multiplies, remember this moment, remember the silence, remember the mockery, remember the doubt, and smile, because you finally realize you were never crazy. You were called. And the thing about a calling, it doesn't go away. It doesn't expire because people ignored you. It doesn't disappear because you failed once. It doesn't die because you doubted yourself. A calling will sit in your spirit and pull on you even when you try to run from it. It will tug at your heart in moments of silence. It will echo in your dreams. It will whisper, then shout, then roar until you listen. That's why distractions hit harder when you're close to destiny. That's why the doubt comes louder when you're on the edge of breakthrough. The enemy doesn't attack what isn't valuable. He attacks what threatens to shake the foundation. And you, with your vision, your fire, your discipline, you threaten average, you disrupt comfort, you expose fear just by daring to believe. So don't expect peace on the battlefield. Expect resistance, expect delays, expect betrayal, but don't fold because the enemy isn't fighting you. He's fighting what's inside you. The assignment, the legacy, the ripple effect your life will create. He knows that if you ever stop explaining your dream to small-minded people and start executing it for real, the world won't be the same. You're not just chasing money. You're not just building a brand. You're rebuilding belief. You're breaking family cycles. You're shifting the atmosphere of entire rooms. When you walk in with purpose, that's bigger than applause. That's legacy. And legacy doesn't beg for validation. Legacy doesn't argue with mediocrity. Legacy builds quietly while others talk loudly. So here's what I need you to understand. There is no reward for explaining your dream to someone who refuses to dream themselves. There's no prize for making your purpose palatable to people who've settled. There's no crown for shrinking just to fit the room you've already outgrown. Some rooms you leave, some people you release, not with bitterness, but with wisdom, because not everyone is supposed to go where you're going. Some people were only there for the launch, not the landing, and that's okay. You must become a master at identifying who adds to your purpose and who subtracts from it, who waters your fire and who suffocates it, who believes when the numbers are small, the lights are dim, and the winds are quiet, because those are the ones who deserve a seat at your table, not the ones who clapped last, the ones who clapped first, not the ones who asked how much have you made, the ones who asked how far can this go, not the ones who waited until the headlines, the ones who stayed during the silence. But until then, walk alone if you must, because this is the season of elevation, and elevation requires insulation. You need to insulate your dream from fear, from doubt, from negativity, from small minds that can't hold big callings. You need to protect your gift like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future depends on it. Your family depends on it. That child watching you in silence depends on it. And every day you wake up wondering if this is all worth it. I promise you it is. The grind, the silence, the confusion, the rejection, the betrayal, the nights you cry yourself to sleep, the days you push through with a smile that hides your exhaustion. It's all part of the building process. Nothing is wasted, not a tear, not a delay, not a disappointment, because destiny has a perfect memory and it rewards those who remain faithful when nobody's watching. It blesses those who believe anyway. It crowns those who grind through the noise. So stop explaining, start embodying, start walking like it's already done. Start moving like the door is already open. Start speaking like the deal is already signed. Because it's not about what they see, it's about what you believe. And if you believe deeply enough, you can shift reality itself. They won't get it. They'll ask you to be realistic. But what they call realism, is what they call too much. You call alignment. What they call crazy, you'll one day call history. So keep going, even when your knees shake, even when the account is low, even when the support vanishes, even when your voice cracks mid-prayer, even when your heart says maybe it's not working, because it is, even when you can't see it, even when it's underground, even when it's invisible, like a seed, your dream is growing quietly, slowly, powerful. And when the season changes, when the harvest comes, when the lights finally shine, the same people who laughed will ask, how did you do it? And you won't need a speech. You won't need revenge. You won't need to prove a point, because your results will speak louder than anything you ever tried to explain. So protect the vision. Guard it like a lion guards its cubs. Not everyone deserves to hear it. Not everyone is equipped to carry it. Not everyone is pure enough to steward it. And that's not arrogance, that's awareness. Because you are not just anybody. You're not average. You are chosen, and chosen people must move differently. You must build even when it's lonely. You must believe even when it's dark. You must grind even when you're tired, because the calling didn't choose you for your comfort. It chose you for your capacity. So the next time someone looks confused when you talk about your dream, smile gently, say less, let them doubt, and then get back to work. Because you weren't called to explain your greatness. You were called to live it. And that means showing up when it's not easy. That means stepping into the room when your hands are shaking. That means speaking with power when your voice is trembling. That means walking by faith when your eyes see nothing but empty space. This is the part no one talks about. The part where you have to encourage yourself when nobody checks in. The part where you have to believe without evidence. The part where you have to choose purpose over popularity, calling over comfort, and discipline over distraction. But that's the price. The price of purpose is peace that gets disrupted. The price of destiny is friendships that fade. The price of legacy is loneliness, obedience, and a deeper level of trust most people will never understand. Because this level of vision isn't cute. It's not about Instagram aesthetics. It's not about who liked your post or shared your reel. It's not about validation. It's about vibration. It's about who you're becoming when the lights are off and the world isn't watching. It's about how you show up for your calling when no one is clapping. It's about what you choose to do when the excuses would be justified. But the fire inside you won't let you quit. That fire, that's your gift trying to speak. That burning in your chest, that's your destiny reminding you it still exists. That dream you keep pushing down every time you hear a negative voice, that's your truth begging for oxygen. But here's the thing, you've got to stop smothering your greatness just to make insecure people feel safe. You've got to stop editing your light because small-minded people get blinded by brightness. You've got to stop waiting for permission to be the person you already are inside, because nobody's coming to validate your greatness. That's your job. Nobody's coming to explain your calling. That's your job. Nobody's coming to carry your vision. That's your job. You keep saying you're waiting on confirmation, but truthfully, you're just scared to be misunderstood, scared to walk alone, scared to step into a future you haven't seen anyone else in your family walk into. But let me remind you of something. You're the blueprint. You were not sent here to repeat cycles. You were sent here to break them. You were not born to fit in. You were born to rise above. You were not created to blend in with the crowd. You were anointed to lead. So stop explaining yourself to people who haven't even met their own purpose. Stop defending your destiny to people who gave up on theirs years ago. Stop asking for directions from people who've never even left the neighborhood. The truth is, Some people are committed to misunderstanding you because it's easier than facing their own reflection. It's easier to judge you than change themselves. It's easier to mock your dream than confront their fear of failure. But you're not them. You were built for more, wired for greatness, programmed to endure what would break the average. And the moment you stop explaining and start embodying that truth, the entire atmosphere of your life will shift, because you can't soar while explaining your wings. You can't build while arguing with broken bricks. You can't manifest abundance while wrestling with people committed to lack. So let them go. Let go of the need to be understood. Let go of the need to be liked. Let go of the need to convince, and replace it with clarity, because clarity is louder than validation. When you're clear about your calling, the noise fades. When you're clear about your worth, the doubt silences. When you're clear about your direction, even rejection becomes redirection. See, you thought you were being buried, but you were really being planted. You thought you were losing friends, but you were actually gaining focus. You thought they were ignoring your greatness, but they were just too small to recognize what they'd never seen before. You are rare, and anything rare will always be questioned before it's accepted. They called the Wright brothers crazy until planes flew. They called Elon Musk delusional until rockets landed. They called Oprah unfit for TV until she became the most powerful woman on it. So let them talk, let them doubt, let them roll their eyes and whisper, because while they whisper, you work. While they scroll, you study. While they judge, you build. And while they sleep, you pray, because there is something inside you that will not let you die normal. There is something in your spirit that refuses to be average. There is a lion in your soul that's tired of the cage, tired of the silence, tired of the need to explain. It's time to roar. It's time to show the world, not with words, but with fruit, not with explanations, but with execution, because that's how you make them understand. Not by talk, by becoming. You don't owe them clarity. You owe them consistency. You don't owe them speeches. You owe them results. You don't owe them comfort. You owe your calling everything. So don't water down your fire for people who are afraid of heat. Let it burn. Let it burn so bright that it lights up every room you enter. Let it burn so hot that it melts away every limiting belief. Let it burn so boldly that even your shadow walks in confidence. Because this is your time, not next year, not when it's perfect, not when they finally get it. Not, this is the season where you stop seeking outside permission and start trusting your internal position. The position you were born to take, the position you fought through hell to hold, the position they told you wasn't yours, but God gave it to you anyway. So stand tall, speak bold, move loud, think big, because you don't owe anyone an explanation for the fire that's been placed in your soul. They weren't there when you were broken. They weren't there when you were overlooked. They weren't there when you were crying in the dark, asking God if you even mattered. But now they'll see you. Now they'll remember. Now they'll watch. And when they do, let your life be the answer to every question they ever had about your vision. Because by then, you won't be explaining anymore. You'll be walking proof that the underdog can rise, proof that obedience still wins, proof that faith still works, proof that discipline beats doubt every single time. Because there's a moment after the grind, after the silence, after this misunderstanding where everything aligns, not by luck, not by chance, but because you refused to quit, because you chose to believe in a future no one else could see. And when that moment comes, oh, it's powerful. You'll step into rooms you used to dream about. You'll shake hands with people who once ignored you. You'll see your name in places you were once too scared to speak it. Not because it was easy, but because you stopped trying to be understood and started trying to be unstoppable. That's the secret. You're not here to be understood. You're here to move mountains. You're here to shake the atmosphere. You're here to birth change, not beg for it. So wake up, stretch your soul, put on your calling like armor, and walk like you were built to shift generations. Because you are not the black sheep. You are the blueprint. You are not the failure. You are the foundation. You are not too much. You are exactly what this moment in history needs. Let them doubt. Let them scroll past you. Let them laugh while you sow seeds in silence. because when harvest time comes, they won't be able to ignore you. They won't be able to mute your impact. They won't be able to explain how someone like you did something like that. But you'll know the nights you stayed up crying and still showed up. You'll know the mornings you woke up empty but still poured into others. You'll know the days you walked into battle with nothing but vision and prayer and still came out victorious. You'll know, because that's what makes you dangerous. Not your money, not your connections, not your follower count. It's your resilience. It's the way you keep going when everything in you says stop. It's the way you speak life over yourself when no one else does. It's the way you refuse to let small minds have the final say. And that is how empires are built. Not by comfort, but by conviction. Not by applause, but by alignment. Not by consensus, but by clarity. And if you're clear, keep moving, even if they misunderstand, even if they mislabel you, even if they mimic your dream and mock your methods, because imitation is proof of impact. Jealousy is confirmation of greatness, and silence is the language of fear. But none of it can stop you unless you let it. So don't fold. Don't flinch. Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. You've come too far. You've healed too much. You've sacrificed too long. Now is not the time to get soft. Now is not the time to seek approval. Now is not the time to trade in your crown for someone's comfort zone. You didn't survive what you survived just to play small. You didn't endure the storm just to hide your sunshine. You didn't escape the pit just to sit in the shadow. You rose for a reason. You were chosen for this. And every voice that said you're too much, you're not enough, you'll never make it, they're going to have to sit down and watch, because you're about to show them what happens when a visionary stops explaining and starts executing. What happens when a leader stops shrinking and starts shining. What happens when a chosen one stops waiting and starts walking. So walk into rooms they said you'd never enter. Walk with purpose in spaces that once scared you. Walk into your greatness like it's already yours, because it is. They don't have to get it. They don't have to like it. They don't even have to see it coming. Because when God calls you, no opinion can cancel it. When you believe, no doubt can dilute it. And when you move, no man can block it. You're not building for applause. You're building for impact. You're not creating for comfort. You're creating for calling. You're not grinding for clout. You're grinding for generational change. So stop explaining. Start demonstrating. Let your life become a loud, undeniable, living testimony of what happens when faith meets fire and doesn't flinch. Because in the end, they won't remember the arguments. They won't remember the gossip. They won't remember the shit. They'll remember the glow, the light you carried, the purpose you lived, the difference you made. So let that be enough. Let your vision stay sacred. Let your silence be strength. Let your grind be gospel. And let your life preach the sermon that no mouth can deny. Because you are the proof that chosen ones don't explain.